now. There we go. Welcome to episode 19 of Rock Talk with the Silver Fox. Today, I'm going to be talking to a band that I've watched their videos. I did a lot of research on them. They kind of reached out to me, and honestly, they're right up my alley. I'm an 80s kid. Give me the glam rock, give me the sleaze, give me all of that. And so today I'm going to be talking to Sam with Midnight Devils out of Lincoln, Nebraska, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm out of Lincoln. It's weird because we're out of 3 different cities. So it's Lincoln, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, and Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, cool. I manage a band, Left of Reason, and I know we played Lincoln and we played Chicago. Unfortunately, not Omaha yet, but Lincoln's a cool city.
Yeah.
You know, people think Nebraska and they just think, oh, there's nothing there. It's just flat. Well, it is flat, but if you get a chance to go to Lincoln, people, go. It's fun. The only thing that sucks is the one-way streets, but
Lincoln is weird because it's a smaller town in Nebraska, but it's the capital city. But it's still one of the only 2 or 3 cities that actually do live music and have original bands that play. It's Lincoln, Omaha, and Kearney, and they're all kind of en route between Denver and Chicago. So we're really known for having a lot of bands coming through and a lot of parties and a lot of great acts that stop in Nebraska. It's a little known fact. It's still kind of a cool place. It's a little slow, but I like it.
I remember when I first got with Left Reason, probably 5 years ago, I booked us out to Reno, and we played, is it Duffy's?
Yeah. Yep.
We played Duffy's in Lincoln. And I just remember our drummer was driving downtown, and he got caught in so many of the one-ways trying to find a parking place down there that, you know, kept going by the university over and over and over. And he was getting very frustrated and animated. He's like, fuck this, what the fuck, blah, 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 blah. And we're all just laughing hysterically. And it's like, hey, check it out, kids. You know, Parliament, big band.
Yep.
On the left.
Did you guys have a good show there?
We had a fantastic show there.
Yeah, it's a cool bar.
That's a very cool bar. Quick question. I remember us seeing a picture of Kurt Cobain on those walls.
Yeah.
Did they go through there?
That is the rumor. And that's what they're known for, is that Nirvana played at Duffy's. Yeah. I wasn't there. I don't know. But that's the rumor.
Yeah, our singer's a huge Kurt Cobain fan, and he was freaking out. But so, like I said, you guys play, for lack of a better word, glam rock.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we play.
You know, good old fun sleaze. Let's go out there and just have fun. A party rock band.
Yep. We don't classify it in terms of say 80s metal or 70s or whatever, hair metal. We don't classify it as that. I mean, it's all kind of the same thing, but we're not a throwback band. We're a current band that's putting out we're on our 2nd record right now. We play glam rock, party music. It's fun. It's a show, and it really takes and borrows a lot from the 70s, you know, with Kiss and with Alice Cooper and Sweet and Slade, New York Dolls, and it borrows from the 80s with Motley Crue, Poison, those really, really glam bands. And then we try and push it over the top just a little bit more and make it our own and make it kind of something that's unique and that nobody's really seen before.
When you said Kiss, you had me right there. That's my favorite band of all time.
It's my favorite band too.
People, my friends make fun of me and everything because a Kiss song comes on. It's like, everybody shut up. Shut up. Greatest band in the world's playing right now.
Yep.
But
it was my first tattoo was on my ass, is the Kiss logo.
See, I've been talking to the wife quite a bit because I have quite a few tattoos. And on my leg, I want to get the Destroyer album cover. And she's like, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, I've been with you 27 years. You know my favorite band. Yes, I do.
I've had my Kiss tattoo for 16 years, and I haven't regretted it once.
Right. They you know, and doing a show like you're doing, or the performance you guys are doing, they showed everybody how to do it.
Exactly. And that's really, Jimmy, our drummer, isn't the biggest Kiss fan, but Sniper and I, the
Jimmy.
guitar player. That's not his thing. He's more of a punk rock dude and more of the extreme. But Kiss, I feel, really wrote the book and the blueprint on how to be a successful band, how to be a successful business. 40 years, 50 years, that's nothing to laugh at. That they've had a successful career putting out records, touring. And I really think that was something that has always kind of been in my mind. So I'll listen to these podcasts and listen, like how did their management do it? How did the business side work for them? And they had it together. And I steal a lot of their ideas. I borrow them because I think it's so well done.
If this business steal is okay to say, I mean,
absolutely. It's a loosely borrowing.
Yeah, I've many times have stolen. Oh, that works. That's smart. 100 years ago when I was in Europe, I was in my own band, and when I wanted to be on stage, which I no longer do, and it was the late 80s, early 90s. So I was around the time that you really kind of like, I'm guessing. I just tell everybody we were somewhere between Bon Jovi and Skid Row. And I love bands like that because I've been to different shows, and I really liked watching your guys' videos because, like you said, you're doing your music.
Right.
I mean, yes, you have your covers of like Panama and stuff like that, but you have your music. What is it, Pink Halo or something like that?
Yep. That was the first single, or the second single, the first video.
And that was very interesting to me. I was like, I like that. I mean, somebody trying to take, and I'm sorry, I'm old, but no. I'm not sorry to be old. I always tell people I may be old, but I saw all the cool bands. But to take something out of like my era and bring it forward and try to make it, like you said, bigger.
Yep. I mean, we grew up. That's what we grew up on, is AC/DC and Van Halen and Kiss and Motley Crue and these bands. So that's our influence. So we're going to take all of our influences and make them our own and push it to the farthest that we can push it. Like today I was talking about, and you'll dig this being a Kiss fan, I was talking to our graphic designer about putting together a comic book or putting together action figures for the Midnight Devils. And our look is so conducive to that. And the artwork, the images that we put out, I'm just like, the world, it's open. Whatever we want to do, we can basically do it. And I think that's a really cool thing. Not a lot of bands have that anymore these days. And to be able to kind of combine not just music and live shows and rock and roll, but arts and entertainment and get people's minds rolling around. I like that.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I'm trying to think the best way to word what I'm thinking is, it was, like I said, unfortunately, I've not seen you live yet. I'm hoping to, because I'm in Wisconsin. So I see your show and I'm like, yes, that's something I would go see. I mean, I've gone and seen 80s cover bands, and some are really good and some are, but I'm not one of those guys who bangs on cover bands. I just don't.
No,
I mean, if you do it well, all the more power to you. And Lord knows there's more money in it. So,
and Sniper and I played in an 80s cover band for years, and we loved it. We loved the consistent shows, the money. But at the end of the day, it wasn't our band. We weren't calling shots, and it wasn't come from the heart. So I think that's the big difference, is that when we get up on stage and sing our songs, it's real. And we believe everything that we're saying because it happened to us. And I think that translates to the audience, and the audience picks up on that immediately. It's not just songs that they've heard and known. It's that these guys are coming out playing their songs, and I can relate to these songs because it's happened to me too.
Playing your type of rock and roll, and I hate saying every time your type or whatever, because rock, in the end of the day, rock is rock to me. I don't care what it is. I mean, I'm a punk rock guy. I love the 80s. Obviously, I've stated how much I like Kiss. I love the 80s. I love the 90s. Huge Slipknot fan. Do you find yourselves being kind of marketed to a certain age demographic?
Absolutely. And that is becoming our biggest hurdle. I mean, you'll know if you've watched like Twisted Sister, like documentaries or anything like that, we've gotten passed on by so many people. So like record labels, anything that's kind of modern, record labels are like, no, we don't want to do it. Bands will be like, hey, we can tour with you guys. We would love to. And they're like, not our type of music. So our age group, you know, if we can get in front of people, it doesn't matter. But at the first glance, people are like, that's an 80s band. I'm not going to, you know, they're going to be for the 80s fans. I'm like, that's not how it is at all. We've done shows with death metal bands, with punk bands. We do the best in those type of situations because it's that energy and that vibe and that nobody's seen this before or done this in so long, especially younger dudes getting out there to do it. So the last show we played was in Omaha, and we played at the strip club that I'm sitting in right now. And it was all younger people and strippers and drag queens and all these transgender people. And I'm just like, this is the fucking coolest thing. It's just this giant mix of people that were all there for the celebration. We took that show and went to Denver to do it. It was like an 80s type of festival. And there was a lot more 80s style people there, bikers and stuff like that. It still worked really well. It's still fucking great. It just is like, you have to get it. You have to be there and see it to get it. And once you get that energy coming off, that trade between the artist and the fans, it doesn't matter how old you are, what music you're into, you know?
I do. And like I said, I spent 10 years in Europe with a band and then came back to the States, raised a family, and then got back into the music industry to find the entire industry changed.
Absolutely.
Everything changed because, like you were saying, having a hard time picking at labels, picking you up. I don't know how important that is anymore. I really don't.
I don't know either. And like you said, everything has changed. From right now where we're sitting, it's a completely different ball game than it was 10 years ago. It's like you got to do something big. It's all about who you know and how much money you have, what you're willing to put your money behind. And this has become more of an investment than anything. You're like, will we take these risks? What are the payoffs going to be? What are the opportunities going to be? Who do you know? Who have you done favors for? It's not the record label. Like I see it's necessary, but we also put out our first record without a record label and sold, 1,000 copies on our own. Now I want bigger than better. I want to sell 5,000 copies. How am I going to do that? How am I going to jump up to that next level? Maybe the record label's the way to go. Maybe they'll put us in front of more people. We just signed with Pavement Music out of Chicago, and they've been unbelievable to us. But we haven't released our record yet. We're working on it still. So it's kind of like, it was a gamble for us. For me to just decide, hey, should we sign with this label or not, is a really big gamble.
That's huge because I know we've signed with at least 3 or 4 that I can think of. Mm-hmm. And I don't quite know if they're labels per se, because like it's way back in the late 80s, 90s when I was in Europe, they supported our first tour. They fronted us the money, they fronted us the merch, they fronted us everything.
Nope.
And we toured Eastern Europe for 6 weeks. We made our money back from the record company in the first 3 days, but today I don't know. I mean, I had an interview with the band Ruins, and their drummer said it point blank, and I think he said it best. I don't know if we're ever going to see another band the size of Metallica. I mean, just that huge. And, one of my favorite sayings is video killed the radio store, but I think the internet killed the rock star.
Yep. And I completely think that, but on the other side of, while I agree 100% that times have changed and that a band that big is going to be hard, there's still that little percentage chance. There's still that window to dream and be like, it's still out there to get. It's still out there, and my thing these days, I've been thinking this over and over, is that what happens when Metallica quits? What happens when Kiss quits? What happens when Motley Crue quits? Who's the next batch of superstars that are coming out? Who paid their dues? Who played all the shitty clubs all across the country? Who's going to be that band that's going to come out and say, this is what we love to do? It's got to be the next generation. The torch has to be passed. And I think that's happening, but I don't know.
I would agree with you. I think my personal opinion, and I'm not an expert, so I just pretend to be one on the podcast. So I really think that the bands that go out there and they put it all on the line.
Yep.
And they go. But I also think there's a dark side to the business that I don't think a lot of people are realizing. Back in the 70s, they got rid of payola, pay to play on the radio type stuff. Today, it's still here, folks. Don't think it's not.
100%.
It's simply called promotion.
Yep.
You're gonna help us promote this here, and oh yeah, give us $10,000 and we'll play your song for 30 days. So a lot of times it's the mighty dollar, and but once again, if you get in front of the right person and impress them, you never know. I mean, I'm going to show my age here. I always go back to Cinderella. John Bon Jovi was back in New Jersey, went to have a beer in the local neighborhood, and Cinderella was playing to 4 people. And he was so impressed with them. He called his label and said, they're going on tour when we leave for Slippery and Wet.
Yep.
I mean,
and I really think exactly. You go out there, and you'll know this from being a punk rock dude, and half of our band are punk rock dudes too, where we're like, we're going to book a tour to the coast, and we're going to play every shitty bar, every shitty house show just to get out to the coast and back. We're going to put it all on the line, exactly like you said, and roll the dice and see what happens, because that's what else are you going to do? Stay in Nebraska and play the Midwest? You can only get so far. You're playing to a limited audience, so that's really what. And I give the credit to our drummer Jimmy. He's like, look, we gotta put it all on the table and go. And if it fails, it fails. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're gonna lose a ton of money, but this is gonna be the best ride. This is our best opportunity to take the ride. And it worked. We went out to LA, played a ton of terrible shows in between, but it worked. And now we're sitting here talking, and we got a record label. So
now, when you make those runs, like how many national runs are you guys able to do a year?
We were doing, before COVID, we were doing 3 or 4 a year, and they'd be like 2-week runs to either coast or back, or to New Orleans, or up to say Wisconsin or so.
I'm a firm believer, because like I was telling you the first time we went through Nebraska, because we played Lincoln at Duffy's, and was it Club 1875 or something like that?
Yep.
Second time we were there. And we went all the way to Reno and back. We stopped at, the Royal in Salt Lake and played in Iowa. But right now, I'm kind of the firm believer that if you can't go back to a place 3 times a year, I don't know if those big, long runs are a payoff.
Yeah.
Now, if you can do it 3 times a year, absolutely do it. If you guys have the capability, the job flexibility, I don't know how old you guys are, but a lot of bands now these days, they have wives, kids, mortgages.
And it sucked. Like, it wasn't easy. We're sleeping in our van and, eating terrible road food and playing terrible shows. But we made it to LA, played the Viper Room, our names on the marquee. And when I saw that, I was like, this is worth every fucking penny that we have lost on the road, all the heartache and everything, to make it out to LA to play this show. And we made friends out there, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing. This is what we dreamed about as kids, is getting in a van and driving around the country. And now we're kind of doing it. And it's attainable. It just, who's going to put in the hard work to do it? Who's going to be the hardest working band in rock and roll these days?
Yeah, like I have some good friends of mine. You might want to check them out, the Almas. They do
Yeah, absolutely. We've done a ton of shows with them.
Yeah, they're really good friends of ours, and they make probably 4 or 5 runs a year nationwide.
They're doing it the right way.
And they can do it. And Frank from the Almas and I had a discussion one night on sustainability. He and I were just at a show, and we're just sitting talking, and there's the big debate of buy-ons and no buy-ons, and and he goes, well, you can every once in a while, but you got to figure out a way you can do it and sustain it.
Yep.
You can't just keep buying on and losing money. You know, you have to figure out a way. Like, I know when he goes down to Florida, he told me the first time he went down there, they were getting X amount of dollars, which was basically a door deal.
Yep.
And now they've been down there 5 or 6 times. He has quite a bit of money to go down there and play now because he can.
Yep.
You know, because they know him. Now, like when we made our run out to Reno, that was 5 years ago. Now I go back out to Reno now, nobody knows us.
Yep. And the weird thing is, the hard thing, and I tell the guys this is the only way that bands are going to sell records in this day and age is to tour. That's the only way you're going to sell records. So the most records that we sold, we did a headlining tour, a shitty punk rock tour. We did okay. We played with the Choir Boys right before the virus happened in March, and it bumped us up a level to, okay, we're on this national tour with this international band, and we sold more records than we ever had before. So I go, that's the way. There's the green light, you know, how to do this and how to sell records, move product, and become the band that you want to be, is to take those chances and get on those tours. I mean, it sucks that sometimes you got to buy on, sometimes you don't, but that's almost the direction that we're trying to follow, is hit you with the good product, and then people will buy it.
Right. Get out there and let people see you and
Yep.
remember you. And then, you know, even I've always thought that even if you buy onto a tour, you know, and I'm not going to get into the big debate of, you know, should you not, but if you buy into a good tour and you get out in front of, say you're on a 3-week run with a band where you get to play 17, 18 shows.
Yep.
And in those 18 shows, you get in front of, we'll say 9,000 people, if it's the right band. Now you can go back there on your own.
Yep.
You know, you can try your luck. You can dip your toes in the water and see, okay, they got it. And one thing I got to say about you guys is you're memorable. I mean, like you said, you're not just good music. You're a show. You know, all the makeup and
and people want to party. People want to party with us afterwards and have a good time, because that's what we're about. We're about bringing those fun times and that good feeling of going out and partying with your friends, drinking beer, doing drugs, having fun, meeting girls. That's what we bring to the table, and I think people really can latch onto that because nobody's really doing that anymore.
Well, I think you guys are really smart about that, because when I first got back in the business, I managed a quasi cover band, and they covered everything from like the 70s to the, you know, current, but they did it in a very 80-ish way. You know, their singer, for Christ's sake, he's a 6'5" Bret Michaels lookalike, you know. And they just didn't want to go out and write a lot of their own stuff anymore. They definitely didn't want to go out and tour. They're real comfortable sitting right here where we can make a lot of money.
Sure.
And I'm still good friends with the guys. And I was like, hey guys, I got to do something better. I got to do something bigger. And that's how I ended up.
That's the name of our album.
Yeah.
Something bigger.
Yeah. And why not?
Yep.
Seriously, why not? I mean, I look at what you guys are doing, and there's pockets of places where you'll find more coverage / tribute bands doing what you're doing, but you're doing it once again on your credit.
Yep. And that was, I tell people that exact same thing every time. They go, well, how did you get out to LA, or how did you get out to New York? I go, there in every city or in every state, there's these pockets of glam rock dudes and, you know, guys and girls that are into fucking Motley Crue still, that are into Faster Pussycat. In every city, there's like a Kiss guy like you and I. And if we can reach that guy, he'll help us with the show. You usually let us sleep on his floor, and we can talk Kiss all night long, and we'll be the best friends. And that's how we started touring. We just made these circles and found out where the glam rock bands were. And it was very underground, very punk rock, and just kind of kept going circles all the way out to the coast.
Keep bringing up punk. And I haven't talked a lot about punk on this, but I lived in Europe for 7 years. I was in Berlin when the wall came down, and I was very much into the punk scene. And that's a fun scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very fun scene. And people just think it's a bunch of misfits of just losers. That's just not true.
No, not at all. Passionate about their music.
They're passionate about their music. They're passionate about their lifestyle. They're passionate about, like I said, I don't talk about politics on here, but passionate about their politics. They walk and talk it, in the big punk, cities like, Berlin and New York, even LA, Dallas, Chicago. I mean, you name the big cities. I mean, it's a fun scene. And you said your drummer's more of a punk guy. Where does he draw his influences from?
He's very Ramones. That's his thing. He thinks the Ramones is the greatest American. He'll say this to anybody getting fights in bars. He'll be like, the Ramones is the greatest American rock and roll band that ever came out. I was like, I can see your side of the story. I mean, I'm a Kiss guy, but I can see it.
The Ramones, see, I always say there's the three godfathers of punk. You've got the Sex Pistols, you got the Dead Kennedys, and you got the Ramones. Mm-hmm. And the Ramones, I feel very bad for the Ramones. I seriously do, because I love their music. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know almost every song by them. That's like Kiss Ramones. I mean, it's that close. And they never got the credit they deserved.
Nope. Not till it was too late.
Right. Once everybody's going to the Hall of Fame, like, who was your influence? The Ramones. I mean, just right down the line. And if there was a band that outworked Kiss, it might have been the Ramones. I mean, in their heyday, they were in a van, when Johnny and Joey hated each other, and Joey's sick as can be, and they're like, nope, we're going to the show. Oh. And yeah, so,
and that's like
I wouldn't argue with it.
That's like the stories you hear, and you go, well, if the Ramones can do it, if Kiss can do it, there's no reason that we can't do it. We're in the same boat as them, and everything's kind of level. It's playing field, and they've shown you the way. So go out there and grab it. I've always felt that way. Like, the blueprint has been written. Van Halen wrote the blueprint on how to be this incredible rock and roll band with a flashy guitar player and an awesome lead singer. So we'll just follow that. We won't write the same songs, but that's what we're going to do.
Right. And you're right. They did. I mean, nobody looked like the Ramones. Definitely nobody looked like Kiss when they first came out. I mean, I've seen pictures recently of the Dress to Kill photo shoot when they're in New York, and it was in color, and they got the little kids just staring at them like, what in the hell? And they said, fuck it. We're going to do this our way.
Let's be honest, like, Kiss didn't do their first 3 records. Nothing happened. Like, they were struggling. Their management lost all this money on them, but they kept touring, and they kept going, and they kept going, and they kept going. And then Alive hit, and it broke them. It's those dues that you have to pay, or figuring out the right solution, and a little bit of luck. I always feel that. A little bit of luck.
Rush was the same way. Mm-hmm. They had a big following in Cleveland, and when they wrote 2112, that was basically Neil Peart saying, okay, you're going to drop us. I'm going to write the album I want to write. Fuck you.
Yep.
And yeah. What do you guys got coming up? You said you're working on an album?
Yeah. So we had decided that we were going to, early 2020, we were on tour with the Choir Boys. When the virus hit, they sent us all home. We were 2 weeks into the tour, had another 2 weeks left to go. Sent us home from New Orleans, and we're like, oh shit, we got to write this record. We just got the time to write the record now. We're off the road. So we put together demos, And then it turns out that Chip's enough is really good friends with our drummer Jimmy. They live together in Chicago. And he's like, yeah, I want to produce your record, bro. Come to my house and we'll do the record. And so I'm like, yeah, let's have Chip do it. Let's take this thing out of Omaha, out of Nebraska, out of the Midwest. We'll go to Chicago and do this record. And then through our booking agent, we got signed up through Pavement Music. So now we're on a label working on a record with Chip, and it's scheduled for a late fall release. I just told the management, I'm like, I don't want to put out a record until we got some sort of a tour behind it. I don't want to just put out a record to put out a record. But this record is going to be great, and having Chip touch on it and being able to bounce songwriting ideas off of him has really been one of the coolest things ever. I can't tell you how incredible it was.
Chip is a very, very cool guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times. I doubt if he remembers me. I have a good friend in California, a very good friend. He's in a band called Pump 5. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Steve Barnett and Drew are really good friends of mine. Like, I've known those guys 25 plus years now. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, they were on this show, and I know they toured with Enough's Enough quite a few times.
They did the Enough's Enough Bullet Boys tour, I think.
Yes, definitely they did that one. And I got a chance to meet him through Steve, and you're right. He's a good guy.
He's rock and roll through and through, and that's what I appreciate most. He's real. When we're sitting at his house, he's got the hat on. He's smoking joints that are this long. He's like, I think you just need to play that straight. I'm gonna play the bass on it. I'm like, whatever you want, man. This is the coolest thing. And the killer you're gonna love this is that he goes, who do you want to mix the record? I go, I don't know. I have no idea. He goes, I got Chris Steinmetz. It's a dude in Chicago, right? And if you don't know who that is, we looked at his biography. He mixed and mastered Revenge. And I was like, okay, yeah, we need that guy. Definitely get him. And I want to be there. I want to talk to him.
Right. I mean, there's some really good guys out there right now. And I would say Chip is one of them. I know we work with Matt LaPlante. He's been Grammy nominated 3 or 4 times. And it's very interesting working with producers, like real producers versus producers.
Yep.
And
You're totally right.
I kind of think the producers are sound techs.
Yep.
You know, they play it back to you. What do you think? You like that? All right, cool. You know, push the button and next. Producers, well, actually, you could tell they'll put their stamp on it.
Yep.
Like, I know the plant for our last CD, Drinking Since the AM, showed up at our practice and he told us have 10 songs ready. And we were just doing a 5-song EP. And we played all 10. And the weird part is he sat there and looked at his phone, looked like he was playing with his phone the whole time. And we played all 10 and we kind of looked up at him and he's like, okay, we're going to do 2, 4, 7, 8, and 9. And we're like, what about 3? We really like 3, you know, because now I won't work on this CD. And then we get there and it's the little things that a producer can do for you. You know, bring a certain sound, or we got to fill this in a little bit different, or this is too complicated. You got it.
Yep. That's what Chip goes. We were sitting there and we were playing we go through it once and Jimmy, our drummer, comes up and he's like, what do you think? Chip goes, play it straight, bro. No fills at all. I'm like, no fills? He goes, play it like the Ramones would play it. Simple, no fills. I'm like, oh, okay. And then we listened to it back and we're like, that was the fucking smartest thing ever. How did he know?
Yeah, that's what I guess I'm talking real producers versus, sound techs.
Yeah. Play it like Frankie Banali would play it. No fills.
Hey, don't even get me going on Frankie Banali. I've met him a few times and not impressed.
I think the coolest thing was that he told me he was talking about this in other interviews too, so I have to mention it. But so he came in there, he's like, okay, it's going to cost this much for you guys to record your record. I'm like, cool, I'll bring like half the payment with me to Chicago. Well, I work in a strip club, so I just brought him cash. right?
Nice.
So I bring him like these 2 stacks of cash. And he's like, not that I don't appreciate the $2,000 and 1s and 5s covered in glitter and perfume, but you think we could get some bigger bills maybe? I was like, Chip, what do you want? He's like, this is the most punk rock thing ever. It's so fucking cool. Don't worry about it.
I can hand him, bills with titty sweat on it. That's awesome.
They're like wrapped in rubber bands. They're this big. I go, here's your
money.
Oh, he's dude. Like, what do I do with this?
I so wanted to do that. I would love to walk into the Matt LaPlante and say, dude, here you go. 600 ones. Yeah, that would be fucking awesome.
And he's like, he immediately leaves. He's like, I give him money and he leaves. And I go, where do you think Chip went? He's like, bro, you just gave him a whole bunch of fucking chippy poos. He's going to be out there blowing it on clothes and who knows what.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, like, I keep trying to tell people the reason I do this is we could talk about on-stage stuff all day long.
Sure.
People who like us, we tell them to come see you. And if I'm in your guys' area, I'm coming to see you guys because I watched your videos. I've listened to your music. And like I said, it's up my alley. It's exactly what I like. There's a lot of people on this that are right around, like a lot of the music I like. And one thing I pride myself on this whole thing is I don't put on bands in here I don't like. I mean, if it's not me or I don't care for it, I can't have a good conversation with you.
Right.
You and I, right now, is the first time we've talked to each other. We've shot a few emails, maybe a text or two. But I like what you're doing, so it's easy for me to talk to you. And I'm stoked. When we're done recording this, I need to talk to you about something that I work on.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Hey, can you pause it real fast?
Sure.
Is that a thing to do?
Hang on a second.
I don't want to lose you either. My phone died.
All right, we're back. Sam has his phone plugged in now, so we don't have to worry about it.
There's a quick commercial timeout.
Right. I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing 2020, let's face it just sucked ass as far as live music went. 2021, I'm really interested. It looks like it's going to open back up. And
Yes.
How's Nebraska looking out there? Are they looking like, hey, let's do this? Or
Nebraska's, it's been weird here because, say at the club that I work at, they'll pack 100 people in here, 200 people in here, no mask. And we've been doing it for months, but we haven't had proper rock shows at proper venues. We haven't had anything big come through, but the bars are going strong. It's just that weird give and take. Like, how can you have 200 people in a bar and it's totally cool, but you can't have 200 people in a music venue without some regulations? So that's where we're at. It's just very strange. Like, we played here in Omaha. We had a great show. We went to Kearney, Nebraska. There's 150 people there, and it's good, but it's not there. Where Chicago, though, it's even more lockdown. We went to a show there and there was 20 people. Everybody had to sit down and wear their masks. It was terrible. It's absolute garbage.
Yeah, we played the West Chicago Social Club.
We haven't played there yet.
You guys would love that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's talk to me later. I can give you the contact for that booker. And they didn't really do the social distancing mask thing as much as they did in other places, but they definitely did lower the cap, like how many people could be in there. I mean, it's a room that could hold 500, 600, 700 people, and I think the cap was like 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it like automatically put social distancing in there by itself.
Right.
The other thing I'm wondering is, like, I know in like 2019, a lot of bands were really coming up and they were really starting to make moves. And 2020 was everybody's year. I mean,
Yep.
I know for a fact by February, excuse me, I had us booked every weekend. Well, I'd go 5 weekends, give the guys off a weekend, being Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
I like that. You work them hard. I like that.
Oh, yeah. We got a calendar. If you don't mark it on the calendar, I can book it.
I
It's
like
that
the way
simple.
you do business, my friend. I like that.
And I had them booked like from March to July like that. It's like, we got 5 weeks. Take a weekend off, guys. Go enjoy your families. 5 weeks, and then COVID blew up and hit us. And we had a 2-week run in there where we were going to go on tour for 2 weeks. Like, I think it was like 11 shows in 14 days. And then COVID hit. And now I'm sitting back reaching out to my good old standbys. And it's just changing what they can do, what they can't do. Hey, we've been down for a year. And you can't tell them, well, that's not my problem.
Right.
Because it is my problem.
Yep.
I got to do what I could do to keep that venue open. Once again, anybody watching this, listening to this on Spotify or YouTube, whatever, go support local music, support local venues. They need you. So I'm just wondering how the business model's changing. Have you seen a big change in it yet, or?
Yes, I've seen, like, I hit up my agent all the time, and it's a great dude out of California, Artist Worldwide, right? And I go, do you have any tours coming down? And he's like, I got this and maybe this, and everything's kind of a maybe, and everything's kind of revolving around Fridays and Saturdays. Nobody wants to book a Sunday through Wednesday show or Sunday through Thursday. So a lot of shows are only happening Fridays and Saturdays. A lot are only happening outdoors. It's different, and it's different in every state and in every little, section of the United States, to where I think like the Almas went out on tour and Wild Street went out on tour. And I think they did good, but I still think that it's still really hard for them. I think they were having trouble, getting people to come out. And I thought the shows that we did were great, but they would have been twice as good in 2019 or 2000, earlier than that. They would have been fucking packed. So I think that in itself, people are still scared to come out. They want to come out. They want to go out and have fun. And that's exactly what we do best, but they're still timid to leave their houses and go out and do stuff. I think that most everything's going to be pushed back till 2022. I really do. I mean, I know a lot of people are announcing tours already, but I don't know if I see it happening, especially inside. Do you see like 1,000 people being inside a building at one time?
1,000?
Yeah, right now?
Right now, no.
Yeah.
In 2 months, maybe.
Maybe, yep. And that's what we're all working on, is maybes.
Exactly, because like I know up around the Wisconsin Dells and Madison, like we have the Crystal Grand, we have the Majestic, and places like that. In my maybe right now is once again, I don't want to get into an argument with politics with anybody,
Sure.
but right now everybody can get the vaccine.
Yep.
Okay, well, at this point here, give it a month or two where everybody had their shot to go and get it. And if they didn't get it, I'm kind of sorry. It's not my fault.
Yep.
You made your decision. Do you want it? Do you not want it? You're grown human beings. And so I think at that point there, I don't know if you really have a leg to stand on to not open up.
Yep. I think it'll just, I keep thinking like the light switch is going to flick and everybody will be like, all right, it's time to come out again. But I don't know that we'll see that for a while, at least not till the summer. I just don't know.
Well, I don't know what your weather in Nebraska was, but today here it was 82 degrees. So.
Yeah, it's about the same here, and it's nice here, but it's still strange, like walking out on the street. I mean, everything's kind of opening up, but not really. And like we had a big tour scheduled with Loudness for it was October and November of this year, right? So
Their
man, we're just like,
loudness.
yeah, we're riding cloud nine. We got it booked last year in 2020. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna tour with Loudness for a month. This is gonna be incredible. They push it back, and then I just got the word from the agent, oh, we're waiting till 2020 now. So this tour's been pushed back twice already to 2022, and we're just like, damn, patience. I
Loudness
guess.
like the Japanese band, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yep.
have not heard anybody say that band's name in years.
They haven't been in the states in years. They've always ran into trouble, and this was going to be the big one. Like they're going to come back as the 30th anniversary of the tour or of the record, and we landed the gig, and I was like, "This is the fucking coolest thing ever." Third shows at the Whiskey Go Go in Hollywood, and then they're like, "Oh wait, now we're just playing that game."
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying there. I look down at my notebook right here and I'm staring at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 dates I'm trying to fill between now and July.
Yep.
And like I said, last year in February, this was all locked down.
Yep.
It was done. And I'm really interested. I know it's going to come back. I just don't know how it's going to come back. And the unfortunate thing, I think, is we lost some good venues.
A ton, yeah.
Lost some really good venues. And we lost some good bands. I mean, I like the regional level and even different local levels. Local levels where there's a lot of heavy hitters, but there's some big heavy hitters, and you call them up like, hey, I'm putting the show together. You guys want on? And they're like, dude, I'm sorry, man. We're not around anymore.
Wow.
And, I could think of 2 or 3 of like ones that I can guarantee if I put them on a show, they're going to pull 50 to 75 people through the door for me. And, so now you're like, huh. Now, the good part of that is now it's opened the door for the younger bands or newer bands to come up and have a chance to show out, which I think is always a good thing. I mean,
how weird is it? I mean, you're an old school rocker, dude. How weird is it? This has like been the most time we've ever had off the road in our lives. How strange is that?
I never dreamed of having a podcast until November of last year. My wife was like, you need to go
do something.
Yeah. She met me in a band, like I said, 20, 30 years ago. And then, like I said, when I was raising kids, I coached. So I was always gone. And so like in my off seasons, even my kids used to be like, Dad needs a team, and then I got out of coaching and got back into music. And they're like, don't you have a show to go on, or don't you have a tour to go on? And
yeah.
Love you guys. But, we kind of mess up the routine.
Yeah. I mean, my clothes have still been in a suitcase from when I got home from the Choir Boys tour. And I'm just like, oh no, it'll come back again. Oh no, it'll come back again. And it never came back,
It's like, I don't know if you know Neil Middleton from Royal Bliss.
No, I'm familiar with the band though.
Fantastic band. And Neil's one of the nicest people in the business, period. He and I talked about that where, it sucked sitting at home. You're like, I love my wife. I love my kids. I love my dog. I mean, I love this life here, but I'm really missing that life. I'm seriously considering having a one of these shows with the spouses of guys in bands, because to have a girlfriend or a wife or a boyfriend, whatever your deal is, with somebody in the music business, you got to be a special person.
Yep.
I know when I leave for a week, 2 weeks, even a weekend, I don't have to worry, period. And I'm really lucky that I'm with the same woman that I started this with. Like back when I started, when I was in a band in Europe, I might have spoke to her every 3 or 4 days for like 10 minutes on a payphone because you had to have a pay card,
Sure.
you know, and it was
Yep.
expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're like, you have 10 seconds left, you know, and, you know, today we're lucky where we can FaceTime,
Yeah.
you know, but even then, you know, there's times when they're like, yeah, Dad, you need to go do something.
And I felt like, okay, since we got this time off, we should spend it with our families, right? Okay, that's like a brilliant idea because we don't get to spend time with our families.
Yeah, because we miss them on the road.
Right. On the other hand, you're like, I just want to be out. I just want to be out. I just want to be out. And you like part of you is missing, even though you're spending time with your family. You're like, half your heart's still back on the road. And I was watching the Stone Cold Steve Austin documentary, right? Where he was like, I spent every day on the road. I spent every day wrestling because I didn't want to miss something, and I didn't want to lose out. I didn't want to become. I didn't want the fans to forget about me. He goes, I had to give up everything, my wife, my kids, everything that I had in life to be the superstar that I wanted to be. And I'm like, I completely understand. I completely understand what he went through, you know, to become that superstar. Like he put it on the line. And I think that guys, especially in our situation, have that part in us, and that we need to.
As Neil Middleton says, we're road dogs.
Yep.
We're road dogs. And, you know, and I don't want people to take it as, man, we really want to leave our families because we miss them, you know, and we do enjoy it. Problem is, like I said, like in my case, especially when my girls were younger, my wife had a routine, you know, and I came home and I just fucked that thing all up. I blew it all up. You know, they're like, why are they doing that? I'm like, why? Well, why not? Did I do it wrong? You know, we're so used to being in charge on the road. You know what I mean? And you come home and you're not. You know, my wife's like, the garbage needs to go out. Oh, you're talking to me about taking the garbage out? Got it. And, you know, I've got it. I'm good. And, but yeah, it was very weird. It still is weird.
Yep.
I mean, we haven't even slept in our bus yet. I mean, I walked back and laid down in my bunk just because. Like, oh, I miss you, you uncomfortable bastard, you. You know?
Like we did 3 shows this year already, and it was like just getting out. I got the taste back. I remember what this feels like, and no matter how tired or pissed off or whatever, like you had a goal. You had to wake up in that city and get you and your band to the next city, to the next gig, and everything that goes along with it, the ups and downs. And I love having that goal and that challenge. And being stuck at home, you're kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm bored. I don't know what.
I've already cleaned the house. I can't clean it anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So one thing I think, since you're a touring band and everything, and I've talked about this a few times, but people will be amazed how much bands go through to play one show or to play a show, maybe not one show, especially when we're on tour. There's so much downtime.
Yeah.
Incredible amounts of it.
You're like 8 hours driving, waking up in the parking lot of the venue just to go in and sound check, and then it's like rush, sound check, get dressed, play your show, then you're done. You're like, what are we supposed to do with the rest of our night? Or, you know, it's just it takes you in those hills and valleys, because it goes from extreme boredom, bored out of your fucking mind, to the highest of highs you can possibly get for 45 minutes, and then you're like, whew, that was it. And you got to pick it back up and get your ass to the next city, or get you to wherever you have to go.
And then all of a sudden you hit a spot in your tour where it's only a 3-hour drive or a 4-hour drive. So you're like, cool, maybe we'll sleep in a little bit. Yeah, that doesn't happen. And we got very lucky. We did this show in Chicago, and then we had to go up to Green Bay. And, you know, we're from Wisconsin and we're Packer fans. I mean,
sure,
unapologetically. And you know, we were like, it's noon. The venue isn't even open. And so we're sitting around, and I've been to Lambeau Field quite a few times. Finally looked at the guys. I'm like, dudes, Lambeau's right there. I
Yes.
know the Hall of Fame is open. I can't tell you how many times I brushed my teeth in the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah.
Like what are we gonna do next?
I think, and that's the cool thing is that we've seen some cool stuff, and you know this. Like you go to these cities, and like we saw the Alamo, and I thought that was the coolest fucking thing ever. Dimebag's grave, the not Jimmy, but the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue, in Texas, and like where Johnny Thunders died in New Orleans. Like you get to see all this really cool stuff in between the shows. It's kind of it's cool. You get the good opportunity, stuff that not a lot of people get to see.
Yeah, I recently went to Randy Rhoads' grave.
Oh, cool.
Well,
is that in Hollywood?
No, that's actually in San Bernardino, California.
Okay.
My wife and I are basically snowbirds these days, and I've known it's been there for years. And I just said one afternoon I had nothing to do, picked her up for lunch, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to have lunch with you, then I'm going to go see Randy Rhoads' grave." And it's a cool mausoleum, and it's easy to find.
Yeah.
Like Dimebag Darrell, you have to search for it.
Yes.
I mean, somebody give me a map. You know, it's not like, oh, it's right here. No, it's hidden.
They just had a guy, like a ground screw guy, like, you guys are in a band, Dimebag's over there. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. Like you just see guys that look like they're in bands. It's over there.
But like where Randy Rhoads is, you drive into the cemetery, and it's the second one on the left.
Wow.
I'll send you a picture of the mausoleum. I mean, it's a mausoleum, and he and his mother are buried in it. But it's all, it's caged in, and Ozzy goes there every year on his birthday. So that cemetery always gets mobbed that day. I went during the
we did the Graceland one too. That was unbelievable. That was
I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's one that we spent the money to get in there, and it was it's kind of expensive to get in there, but I'll never forget that feeling of seeing the King's grave. Like we saw it and it choked me up. I was sitting there and they're like, "You want pictures?" I'm like, no pictures. This is like a very somber occasion right now.
I mean, I think I would feel that too. Did you see the King? Was he walking around anywhere?
Down in the jungle room.
Right. Yeah, I would love to go to Graceland. I love music. I love music. And some of these people just changed it. I know my daughter and her fiance went to New York and to John Lennon's.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they both were crying,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The Beatles, I was born in 1967. Okay, the Beatles ended up quitting in like 1971. So my daughter wasn't even a thought. And that's how much, he changed the world. Music changes the world. And but in so many ways. I mean, you have, the John Lennons of the world that, imagine. Beat that
Unbelievable.
song. Beat that song.
No change.
Go ahead.
Yep.
And then you got people like me who grew up on Kiss. And then in the 80s, it was like, oh my God, these guys are playing great rock and roll, and you're dropping Def Leppard and, Iron Maiden. And then all of a sudden, glam rock hits. And I'm like, you got the Poisons of the world, Motley Crue. See, I saw Motley Crue on their very first tour, on that first tour, first album. They opened up for Loverboy. It was crazy.
For Loverboy?
For Loverboy. Yeah.
That's the big secret that I'm probably not allowed to tell, but we're doing a Loverboy cover. That's going to be the B-side of the single.
All right, guys, once again, guess who gets the scoop?
Nobody. So I haven't told anybody that any interview. That was brand new, and it was Chip was like, "You guys need a cover for the B-side of the single. What's it going to be?" And we decided on a couple songs, and then we're like, "Loverboy, let's do it." Nobody's done it yet, so it's perfect.
Dude, I told my guys when I hooked up with them they're like, we only do our songs. I said, no, we are going to put a cover right in the middle of our set.
Yes. It's smart.
Because people are going to rock out for 3 or 4 songs. And they're going to say, yeah, they rock, but I don't know this.
Yep.
And I'm talking about the newer people, right? And if you lose somebody to a cigarette, they go outside for a cigarette, they're gone 20 minutes.
Yep.
Everybody goes, oh, it doesn't take that long to smoke a cigarette. It does if you're talking to people and you have another one, whatever. And my guys do a great job of Boys of Summer.
Oh, that was on the list.
Yeah, we're recording it. Leave it alone. But we throw that in the middle, and it brings everybody right back in. You know, anybody was starting to head towards that door. Yep. You know, they're like, you know, because we chunk it up, and you know, we're a hard rock band. We're not a screamy band. I say we're kind of like Seether, Chevelle, or something like that, and just sucks them right back in. And the singer looked at me after the show, and he goes, "All right, I guess I got to listen to you." Goes, well, why the fuck are you paying me? You know, if you're not going to listen to me.
We had got put on the Rocklahoma like 5 years in a row, right? And the first thing they tell you is they go, okay, here's how your set list has to be. First song, fast song. Second song, cover. Third song, fast song. Don't play any slow songs. I was like, what the fuck is this guy telling me how to write my set list? So we did it anyways, and we put in Van Halen. Second song, Panama. Boom. Metal guys, punk guys, each dude just goes, oh, I fucking like Van Halen. And it worked, and we never took it out of the set list.
Right. It doesn't hurt. I mean, so what do you got? What shows do you guys got coming out?
Nothing as of right now. Like just the kind of the one I'm working on right now.
You guys, I've checked out your Facebook. You guys are doing well on Facebook, putting up some good numbers there. Your YouTube is getting some good numbers. What is your YouTube channel, real quick? Why don't you tell everybody?
It just search The Midnight Devils. I don't know if there's an actual name, but if you search The Midnight Devils, the single's called Pink Halo, and that's the video that we put out.
And you guys are on Spotify?
Yes, we're on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, we're everywhere. So guys, anywhere you can stream music, we are.
So guys, go to these different platforms, find The Midnight Devils. If that doesn't pop up for you, try The Midnight Devils Band. That seems to work a lot for a lot of bands. Give these guys a like. When you go into their YouTube, if they got a YouTube channel, hit subscribe. They're worth it. You guys know me by now. If you know my taste in music, you know I don't put on anybody I don't like.
I appreciate that.
I've got a very, very wide range of music I like. And I was, number one, I was kind of excited when I got the email like, hey, we'd like to talk to you. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not quite sure who you are. And I always like to research everybody. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And, but like I said, go and hit the likes for them, hit the subscribes for them. While you're there at YouTube and Spotify, go to Rock Talk with the Silver Fox. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And Sam, is there anything else you want to put out there for anybody?
Nope, that's really it, man. I really appreciate you talking to me. And like I said, like I think kind of being Kiss fans and kindred dudes, we could probably talk all night long about music and anything like that. So I appreciate you taking the time. And for your fans listening, we'll have a brand new album out this year, hopefully in 2021. We'll have a brand new album out. We'll be on the road a little bit here and there. And I think we'll get a chance to see the Midnight Devils and see what this thing is all about.
I look forward to it, and I'm hoping it's a dual-edged sword for me. I really want to see you guys, but I really want to make sure I get us booked like solid, like we were before.
Right.
But I'm hoping our paths cross. Like I said, I watched the videos and I kind of went, yeah.
You're from Janesville though, right? We've been gunning for the back bar for a while.
But you want to get in there?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we'll talk. I worked there 6 years.
Perfect. That place looks fucking incredible.
We're actually playing there Saturday night. us at Lines of Loyalty in mile 134.
We'll make something happen then.
Absolutely. I'm going to start winding this up. I want to thank everybody for being on here. Definitely, Sam, thank you very much for being on here. And to everybody else, I'm just going to say rock on.